Good afternoon, everyone in Lagos, Nigeria. Of course, it is 12:13 p.m. and welcome to a Google Plus Hangout, of course, organized and four channels beam. This afternoon, we'll be looking at the issues concerning the withdrawal of the security details of the number four man in the country. That's the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Aminu Tambuwal. Mr. Tambuwal actually defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, and I believe he's now beginning to feel the backlash of his actions. But then, before we start this, Abraham Awobem is joining us from Hull City in England. Abraham, good morning. I know it's morning in your place.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks very much.
Great to be on. Thanks for joining the hangout. Martins Mbasake Obono, thank you for joining as well. You're calling from England as well, London. And Benjamin Abagoriola, thank you for joining. We also have Ayo Shogun Rahu, he is here with me in the nation's Nigeria's commercial capital. But then let's just continue now, going on forward. Okay, just before we continue, Modupa just joined, but she dropped again. Abraham, let me come to you. Let me just start with you.
Okay.
I'm sure you're aware of what has been going on. You heard what happened. The speaker defected, and what followed his defection. What's your take, and how do you think that should have been handled?
Well, yeah, thanks very much. I think it's within his prerogative to jump ship between parties. I mean, it's a free world after all. So it's, to that extent, yes, it's in order. But because he's a top political office holder, I mean, I don't know what the Nigerian constitution stipulates at this time. But I would have thought, out of courtesy, he would have formally informed the various arms of government about his proposed move to change parties, because he was, especially as he was elected on the platform of a particular party. But having said that, I'm not sure to draw his security. Constitutionally, still the number four man. As far as until he's formally replaced, if he will be replaced, he's still the number four man. So to that extent, I'm not sure if it was very appropriate to have withdrawn his security details, as is alleged to have been done. I think if it is true they've done that until he's officially and formally replaced as the number four man, if that will happen, I think it should be corrected. That's the opinion.
All right, so just moving forward, Carol, let me come to you on this. You just spoke about the legality of the whole issue, but what do you think about it? He's still the speaker, but then his details withdrawn. What's your take on that?
I think that it's clear cut. To take away his security details, because as far as the constitution is concerned, Aminu Tambuwal is still the House of Reps. The constitution is quite clear on the details of what needs to happen before the speaker can be impeached or whatever it is. It's a wrong move by the presidency. It's wrong by the presidency, and the presidency or the executive arm of the government, they are peddling or getting into what they shouldn't be, because the legislative arm of the government is an independent part of the government, and the executive should be meddling or peddling with what happens in there. And it's clear that that's what's happening here. It's wrong. If anything happens to Tambuwal at this point, because his security details have been withdrawn, there's going to be chaos in the country, and it's petty. It's petty for the presidency to do that. It's he has, even though I'm not really in favor of the way these politicians have been moving from one party to the other, but then the constitution makes it okay for them to move. He's moved. He cited that there are issues within his party in Sokoto State, hence his movement from PDP to APC. And if the PDP think that's wrong, or there were no factions, and I think the simple thing to do was just to go to court to confirm that, or to let the court interpret what the law says. Again, the police getting into interpreting the laws themselves, that's just that just comes to show where or what this what Nigeria has turned into when the police are now taking laws into their hands. If you say so, well, it's totally wrong. There's no two ways about it, and there really is no excuse or anything that the PDP or the presidency or whoever was behind this that they want to use to justify. It's just simple because he's moved from their party, and everyone is. Yes, it's a lot for them, but they are just being petty and taking laws into their hands and doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
All right, Carol, let me just move on and come to you, Martins. Carol and Abraham have raised quite some points, but then let's just hear what you think exactly about this issue.
The Constitution says that there is a freedom of association in Nigeria, and then in Section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G, it also states that gives rules for which a member of the House of Representatives or a senator can lose his seat. Now, it says that in let me just quickly read that out. In Section 68, paragraph 1, subsection 1, paragraph G, it says being a member of the House of Senate or the House of Representatives shall vacate his seat in the House of which he is a member if G, being a person whose election to the House was sponsored by a political party, he becomes a member of another political party before the expiration of the period for which that House was elected. Now, this is the fulcrum through which the police have decided to withdraw the security details of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. But then again, like Carol has rightly said, it is not the jurisdiction of the Inspector General of Police to interpret the law. What was right what would have been expected, what would have been honorable for the Speaker to have done would have been to decamp or to defect and then resign his position as a member of the House of Representatives. But since he has decided not to do so, and the executive have decided to act in this manner, it is now left for the courts to decide what exactly is to be done. I am also of the opinion that the Constitution itself, now these are the kind of lacuna that you have in the Constitution. At one point, the Constitution is saying you have freedom of association, freedom of expression and all that. And on the other hand, it's saying that you do not have the freedom of association if you have the freedom, if you associate with this group of people at a particular time A, you will be stripped of certain privileges, which is okay. I mean, but then in a situation like this, you now begin to wonder, when the Constitution begins, when you use the Constitution for your own good against another person's will, then the law begins to look like it is man is made for the law, not the law made for man. Tambuwal could have been wrong. I mean, he is wrong in its entirety. First of all, I disagree with the fact that, with his viewpoint, with the fact that he camped and then sent the House on recess for 6 weeks. That is wrong. It is against, this is anti-people. That was an anti-people move in its, and I criticize it in all forms. Because first of all, he might have done that for his political ambition, but then what about the Nigerian people? These people are elected to be there to represent us and to deal with matters of national interest. What if something wrong happens today? And then how will the House begin to react, or how will they be able to present the matter for national, issues of national discourse? So for me, I think it is wrong, and then it is also wrong for the government, for the Inspector General of Police to have reacted that way, because Tambuwal hasn't been impeached. Tambuwal hasn't resigned. Tambuwal is still the substantive Speaker of the House of Representatives. That is number 4 position in Nigeria. If anything goes wrong, it's going to throw the whole country into jeopardy, and it should be highly criticized. What should be done right now is, as an honorable person, he should resign his position because the law says so. Then secondly, you will see that the House already, as it stands, PDP still has majority of members in the House. So, and it is clear, it is the majority that carries the votes. It is the majority that produces Speaker. You can't say a speaker from a minority party, as it is, should now preside over majority of the people. It is wrong. So ethically, it is wrong. Constitutionally, it is also wrong. So, but we will only say, okay, because he has acted this way, he has acted this way, and the principle of separation of powers has been violated, then the federal government is wrong or the IG is wrong. But in its entirety, morally and legally, the speaker ought to have resigned his position as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
All right, Martins, let me now move forward. Benjamin Abagrela, you've heard now two different views now coming up on this conversation. But if you look at the whole thing, the police said they withdrew his security details based on what the Section 68, subsection 1G of the Nigerian Constitution says, of course, 1999, as amended. But what do you think about it? Do you think it is right or not?
So far, what the police have done is just political withdrawn. I guess the police are working with a script from the presidency to like frustrate Tambuwal. If we could remember vividly, before Tambuwal became the Speaker of House of Representatives, he was having some major issue. They were saying he's not supposed to be the right guy, all those kind of stuff. But as it is today, Tambuwal is going to lose his seat because he has postponed the next sitting to December, I guess. So if they're going to be using based on majority, it's going to be impeached because PDP still have the majority in the House. But with Nigerian kind of politics, I just see the federal government withdrawing the security details is just political withholding because they know it's going to APC. So they just want to frustrate his efforts. And as we know the politics now in Nigeria, the police will withdraw him, but we are going to be having political crisis when the House resumes. So we want to see how they're going to resolve this issue. Because Tambuwal is still going to be leading, or yeah, he's going to be leading the House, and we want to see who is going to move motion for his impeachment. I guess maybe the Deputy Speaker will be doing that. But so far, the police withdrawing the security detail, they violated his right because he's still the Speaker of the House. No matter what he has, even if it comes to APC, he still have the basic right as the Speaker of the House. So withdrawing the security detail just show that they are threatening him. So I think what the police have just did was a script from the presidency. So it's basically is wrong.
All right. So I'm just in moving forward. Well, you're saying it's wrong, but I don't know if you can hear us, but I know you've been trying to join, and your internet seems not very well in place. But I'll come back to you. Let me move now. Adikoya, good afternoon. You just joined the Hangout.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. So, your video is quite blurred in a way, but I would like you to turn, so that we can see your face very well. But in the meantime, what's your take on this issue? Because now we're having discerning views. Some say, okay, the speaker is actually, wrong to have gone to another party since he was, elected speaker on the basis, on the platform of one political party. But all that aside, what do you think?
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, let us all praise the Nigerian police force. I think in a long while they've been able to stand up first for the sanctity of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I appreciate for what they have done. It is very rare at this point in time to see a police force, especially when the police is at this level, to actually act in such a way. I praise them, and I think they should be given kudos. They understand clearly the provision of the Constitution. He was also a member of when that Constitution was being. Section 66 of the Constitution It's very clear. I don't know. It is not the case. There's no case of it's not ambiguous. So I don't understand why we are still here. We are debating on whether he is not even a member. He's not even an honorable member of the House. Talking about constitution is clear. It's not ambiguous. When we are talking, some people are talking about going to court and the rest. What is court? Because you don't need explanation. You don't need Section 68 of Section 1 stated clearly. He said, any member, they shall do what? Vacate. Give room for house you coming again, the house debating if you are still a member or not. No, it's clear. Vacate once you've altered the provision of this section. And Mr. Tambuwal, I believe he understands before taking such step. He understands what he's doing. I am very sure he knows. I know he's just playing the policies of going. You can go to court. Everybody's right to go to court. But presently, former speaker, right on everybody enjoy. This is a constitutional issue. It's not the issue of political party. That aside, it's not about political party. The issue of PDP or APC is not in the Constitution. What is in the Constitution is if you have altered provision of this Constitution, we must praise them. Let's praise the new IG. Let's praise the Nigerian police for standing up for the sanctity of the Constitution. Apart from that, I need to start arguing on if he's still a member. He's no longer a member. So you can now go to court now decide, okay, I feel I'm still a member. Let him go to court. But presently, he's no longer a member. I think that's what the police has done, and I praise them. I want to thank the new IG for doing a very good job.
All right, Adeko, man, I really struggled to gather your thoughts, but I could see that some people were actually reacting to some of the things you were saying. And Karo was saying that he was asking if you've read the provisions of the same section 68(1)G that you are referring to. And Obagorela is saying that the police is wrong and will always be wrong on this until the House of Representatives replaces Tambuwal as Speaker. He remains Nigeria's number 4 man. But just to moving forward, I'll get you to react to all these things later on. But let's hear from Ayo Shogunro. Ayo, if you can hear us now, we've been trying to reach you, but apparently it seems your internet hasn't been in place. Ayo, can you hear me? Okay, I actually was still struggling to hear what you're trying to say. That you're trying to say something at this moment. Of course, I know you're trying. But Karo, you're trying to raise some issues, concerning what Adekoya was just saying now.
Yeah.
What exactly? Yeah.
He's quoting the same section of the Constitution that the police referred to. Okay, yes, the member of the House, and I'm just reading out, a member of the House of Senate or the House of Representatives shall vacate his seat in the House of which is a member if being a person whose election to the House was sponsored by a political party. But then it says, provided that his membership of the latter political party is not as a result of a division in the political party of which he was previously a member, or of a merger or 2 or more political parties or factions by one or wherever he is. So basically, that provision says, and that's what Tambuwal said, that there are issues within his party in Sokoto State. So he's referring to a division or a faction within his party, hence his removal. And that provision or that constitution clearly states that if there is a division, then he doesn't lose his seat. What the police and what the PDP should be arguing is that there is no division within the PDP. That should be their argument, not that the Constitution says if you defect, you vacate your seat. There are members of the House of Reps that have left another party into the PDP, and they haven't vacated their seat. They are still there in the House. There are members that have left the PDP to the APC or wherever to the APC, and they are still there in the House. What the PDP or the grieving party needs to do is go to court and tell the court or prove with the court that there was no division, there was no faction within our party. If they can prove that there was no faction or the court says there was no faction or division, then Tambuwal loses. But until they can do that, and Tambuwal haven't cited that division within the PDP in capital state, then he still retains his seat. And there is no argument. We really shouldn't be arguing this, but hey, this is Nigeria, and that's why we're here today anyways. So if you quote Section 68 and then ignore the provisions afterwards, then it's like we're just kind of being myopic and just saying things to suit our own intentions. We're all here in this country when the president removed the CBN governor, an independent part of the government as well, and no one said not that no one said anything, but we saw how things played out. And if this continues, it's going to set a wrong precedent in the country, and people will just come and do whatever they want to, flouting the law as they want to, and this is only going to lead us into chaos in Nigeria. It's going to lead us into anarchy in the country, and it's better we avoid it and obey what the law says, right? And avoid any upheaval that could come up in the country. It's clear what the Constitution says. If it's provided, if there is no faction, but if there is a faction, then it can cross over to another party and retain its seat. What you should be arguing, and the PDP and whoever is in favor of the removal is there is no defection. And if you can prove that, then that's fine. Then Tambuwal loses his seat, he leaves the House, and that's clear. But then until we can do that, we can't just put the laws into our hands and start interpreting the laws as we want to.
Caro, I beg your pardon. Ayo has just apologized for his poor network. But then also moving forward, Martins with Baseke, I think I raised issues of going to court, that the APC and the speaker now have gone to court to challenge this action. What's your take on that?
Can you say that again? You're breaking up.
Okay, he has taken the issue to court.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Yeah.
If the issue has been taken to court?
Yeah.
I don't know at this time if the issue has been taken to court or not.
No, it has already been taken to court. That's what I'm saying. But
okay.
Yeah. What's your reaction to that?
I think essentially, like Carol rightly said, it is for PDP to argue that there is no division in the House based on the provision of the Constitution, and then it is for Tambuwal to prove beyond reasonable doubts that yes, I mean for PDP to for Tambuwal to prove beyond reasonable doubts that yes, there is division in the party, and that is the reason why he has moved to the other party. But then there are also precedents. I mean, there are other cases in the courts that have been pending court judgments. I think there are many cases in the courts where people have defected from one party to the other, and then the Supreme Court has not passed judgments yet on that issue. So it is still a matter for the court to decide, for the court to interpret, because like I said earlier, it is not for the police or the executive to interfere in legislative issues. It is the courts that should have decided, okay, this is the interpretation of the law, and then the courts will say, because the speaker has lost his position, I mean, Tambuwal has lost his position as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, his security details should be stripped of him, his benefits should not be accrued to him anymore, and other things. Because what has just been done now is like, they've put the cart before the horse. He has to lose his position first before all other entitlements should be stripped of him. You can't strip somebody of his entitlements before taking him off his office. No. You can't do that. So Tambuwal has to lose his seat first of all before all those steps can be taken. That's my take.
Okay, awesome. Abraham, let me come to you. You've quite been quiet for a while now, and quite a lot of issues have also been raised. The issue about him going to court. But Aya Shogunro is saying that this issue is a mismatch of constitutional ambiguity, individual selfishness, and police overzealousness. And Caro actually agrees with him, and he adds that there are members in Anambra House of Assembly that have defected to the PDP, and they are still in the House. Ayoshogun also notes that the Constitution says the defecting legislator should vacate his seat. This is impractical. It leaves the decision in the hands of the individual, not an external party. But what do you think about all these things?
Well, it's been said, and I think everything everyone said that there is element of.
Can you come again, please?
Sorry, I said a lot has been said.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? A lot has been said, and you know, people have made valid points. We are aiming to be a society of law and order. It's not just law; it's also order. So we have the law, but we have to be orderly about the law. There's a way to address issues when matters of the law are in contention. And that's why we have the various arms of government. I'm glad that the matter is in court already. I think what we need now is for the courts to expedite action, because this is a matter of, if you want to look at it so, national emergency. It is a matter of national emergency because a major arm of government stands a risk of disarray by this issue. So I would expect the courts to expedite action and resolve this matter promptly. But you know, on the one hand, you know, it's always good to implore our leaders, as we have them presently, to always consider the national interest before personal interest, you know, because there are honorable ways to do things. What it appears the honorable speaker of the House of Rep has done is to try to bend the law to suit his purpose. Okay, in the game of political survival, you may not take him to guilt for that. But at the same time, it's a fledgling democracy. We're still relatively young in the game. And you also want to put that in the picture. But again, you know, we're all learning. I guess Nigeria as a country is still learning, you know. But all said and done at this point, at this juncture, I think the judiciary should step in gallantly, expedite action, and resolve this matter promptly.
All right, Abraham, but then let me just also go again and remind you guys that you can also output your comments and your thoughts, of course, in reactions to what people are saying on the Hangout, because I can see the whole place is really, really banging. And I read some of Ayoshogun's statements. He adds also that as the things that he said as the Constitution, where he was talking about defecting legislators not defecting, and you know, and saying it's impractical and it leaves the decision in the hands of an individual, not an external party. He said, as such, a selfish individual will take advantage of this. Obagorela says the speaker will surely vacate his seat when the House resumes, but pending that time, he still remains the speaker of the House. And I adds that now Tambuwal has taken advantage of that vacate provision, same as a lot of other legislators in the past. Now, talking about other legislators that have defected, Caro, they've defected and, you know, they still retain their seats. Why is it different? Why is this one particularly different from others?
The other legislators that have defected are still in the House. They, I think there's still a case in court that they are arguing out whether the defection, whether there was a faction or division within the PDP before they defected, and that matter is still in court. And that's the sole reason why they are still retaining their seats in the House. Even though, as Aya said, that Tambuwal has taken advantage of that vacate, even whether it's left for, whether it's in the hands of the legislature themselves to vacate their seats or whether they are pushed out. I think at this point in time, they have all cited the provision that says if there is a defection, the law says we can. If there's a fraction, the law says that we can defect and still retain our seats. So they've all cited, and that's all what they're holding on to, whether selfishly or not. Because even the whole defection, the whole faction thing, if you want to defect, you can create a faction or you can create trouble within your party. Trouble, and then say, oh yeah, there was a trouble in that party, hence that's why I've left the party. So I think the constitution is there are some defects within the constitution, and people are taking advantage of this again. But they are all working around the law, or those that have defected. I believe they are still working around the law and have not flouted the law in any way. Only if their defection can be only if it can be proven that there was no faction within the PDP, then it's fine. But before they can do that, or until the court does that, they can defect and still say. But again, back to your question, Victor, this is all down to 2015, right? Because it's quite important, because if the number 4 person in the country, Tambuwal, the House of Reps Speaker, is a very, very important position in the country, and the PDP are seeing this as if he leaves, then obviously that's going to have some political effects negatively on the PDP. So they are trying their best possible to make sure that they take him out by hook or crook, to make sure that that seat comes back to the PDP by any means. So that's the main reason they are doing this. And let's not be deceived. This is all about 2015, and that's what it is.
All right. That said, now Boladale Adikoya, let me come to you on this now. You know, not even the speaker. Now we've also had governors that have decamped, you know, from other parties to the PDP, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but then they still maintain their security apparatus and all that. Why is it? What's the law for the governors, and I mean, why is it different in their own case?
Now, I think we are getting all this wrong. I think major issue we should be. I've heard what Mr. Karo said. I think what we should be looking at is interpretation to the word crisis. I think that's a major issue now. It now depends on if you want to define crisis. In 2003, when PDP had the NPDP and the PDP, there was crisis at the national level, and they rode on that, and they defected to APC. Same with Governor Mimiko. There was issue at the national level of Labour Party before defected to PDP. They had issue of Congress and the rest. The NLC was trying to take over. The NLC was taking them to court and the rest before he defected. So he has a legal party. Now, on the issue of former Right Honorable Aminu Tambuwal, he defected, claiming that the Sokoto State PDP had issues. And if I could recollect well, the Federal High Court sitting in Akure, in the case between I think one honorable in Labour Party defected to APC, interpreted crisis as a crisis at the national level of a party and not at the national level of the state of the party. So I think that has been laid to rest. See, that has been laid to rest. And presently, everybody knows it is a notorious fact that PDP presently has no faction. It is a notorious fact that PDP at national level presently has no division, has no crisis. So if I feel you want to write on that, I think that's just that is just unwise. For Honorable Tambuwal, I think he made a mistake because he also understands the implication of what he was. Say that no, it's not done. Because he understands the implication. He's just trying to be political. So we shouldn't let's just Mr. Karo was on at 15. This is the question of 2015. APC is trying to win over. Fine, I accept. That is fine. That is true. But also we should also understand that if APC is trying to win over, PDP is trying to win over, we as individuals, as the electorate, should not take side. We should what we should take side on is the side of the constitution. If it is not like the state house of assemblies we have presently in Nigeria that has become the bedroom of the government. He has made that sort of a reckoning force. And I love that. He's doing his job. But funny enough, the constitution on its own has a rule of law, and nobody is above the law. I'm sure There's no lacuna in all this. Constitution is straight, clear, and he has breached that section. I think he should go. He should go. It's not. He should go. And the INEC should be looking at.
I think Adika has on internet. Okay. All right, Adika, I really again struggled to pick what you were saying, but it seems that Caro and Martin Obaseki actually were hearing some of the things you were saying, and Obaseki actually has a problem with you saying that Aminu Tambuwal is former Right Honorable, and I've given that right of reply, saying a lot of things. Martin, I know you want to react to.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
I think it is wrong to say that Tambuwal is a former. To address him as former Right Honorable Aminu Tambuwal, because the law itself is just like, if Mr. Dikoda, if you're saying that he's a former, then that means you're just as good as reacting the way the IGP has done, and every other person who thinks he has lost his position. Tambuwal was outsmarted the whole of Nigerians by stepping down. In fact, he stepped down as the last thing on the item for legislative discourse on that day, and then he adjourned the House till the 3rd of December. He took Nigerians unawares, and he took everybody unawares. First of all, he is, in as much as I'm against what he did, I'm not against his defection, that is for his personal purpose, but I'm against the fact that he defected and he kept Nigeria in limbo. But then it is wrong for us to say that he is a former when he is not a former. He's still the substantive Speaker of the House of Representatives as it stands until the 3rd of December, when either the House decides to move a motion for his impeachment or not. As it stands, I don't think the House is even going to succeed, because PDP itself is divided in the House. There are people who are members of the PDP who are still loyal to Tambuwal being in APC, as it stands. I think the number is still in its 90s. Officially, PDP has the highest number of members in the House, but if you look at it critically, there are divisions in the parts in the House. So you have like 98 members of the House, off record now, who are members of PDP officially. The rest are APC members. So it's just like Aminu Tambuwal has always been parading himself as PDP member in the day, APC member at night, until he formally defected. So the defection automatically does not pronounce him a former. He's still a member of the House of Representatives, and he is still a Speaker of the House of Reps. There are two things he could have done. He could have decided, based on morality, like I said, morality, to say, okay, I have defected, I do not want to be, this is the party that brought me to power, and because I'm saying there is division in this party, I no longer belong to this party. By virtue, I do not want to be a member, I do not want to be a Speaker of the House of Representatives anymore, and I resign my position. Or to stick by the law and say, okay, this is the provision of the law, and I'm going to step down. Or PDP decides to go to court and say, look, the role of judiciary is to interpret the law. This is what the law says. Could you please interpret it and give us justice, and let this man step aside, and then justice take its course. But for now, we can only discuss it. We can only make suggestions. It is only the courts that can decide this matter and give give interpretations to it, so that there will be precedents for it. Because the way people jump, and it goes back to the fundamental problem of Nigeria, of the political system in Nigeria, the fact that the political systems in Nigeria or political parties in Nigeria do not have an ideology. Only Tambuwal has been a member of AMPP. Only Tambuwal has been a member of PDP. Only Tambuwal has been a member of APP, and he is also the member. He has always been the member. He is now the member of APC. when you jump ships, it just shows that there is no ideological difference between all these political parties. All that matters is just the symbols. And that is why somebody will decide to leave a party shamelessly to join another party. You know, somebody will decide to leave a party, join another party, come back again, go to another party, come back again, and all that. But if we have a political party that is ideological, that's ideological. If we were to say, okay, you are on the far right and I am on the far left, and this is simple, it boils down to morality again. For instance, I am not on the far right. I can never go to the far right. I can never be. I am a socialist to the core. Nothing will take me away from my left to right at all. It can never be done that way. So, if there is any party that I can adhere to that is socialist to the core, then I'll be that way. I'll go that way. So the reason still goes back to the point that people want to get political power. I mean, people want to go into politics to grab power for their own selfish interest, not because they really care about what they really want to do, but because Carol raised the issue of the fact that it is all 2015 game changer, and it is true. In as much as it is a game changer for PDP, it is also a game changer for APC as well. For it to have a big fish like the Speaker of the House of Representatives move to the opposition, which is now threatening the ruling party, is a big game changer. So for Tambuwal to have moved, yes, he should move and believe that yeah, he has gone, and then go with everything that he came with and all that, and then start afresh. Not for him to decide to leave the position. It's just like you saying that you are given a house. You are given a house by virtue of your position as a manager in an office, and then you decide to leave the company to another company and don't expect them to take away the house from you. No, it is uncalled for.
Whoa! All right, we're about to wrap up. But let me just get your closing statements just before we do that. Abraham, let me come to you. What's your last take on this issue?
Okay, my last take is, I don't know if the Honorable Speaker...
Please, I need to, all right, sorry.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what... I mean, I'm sure Honorable Tambuwal does watch this program. I mean, it should be honorable and honorable indeed. I mean, and do the right thing. You know, I think for the sake of posterity, I don't think if he resigns formally his position in the House as Speaker, and perhaps even as a member of the House, I don't think that's going to necessarily jeopardize his ambition in the APC, his gubernatorial ambition in Sokoto State. So I think he should just do the honorable thing, tidy up, you know, the polity for us in this regard, for the sake of posterity. And that will be my word to him if he does watch this program, or if his aides or friends do watch this program.
All right, Adekoya, what's your own last word?
It's only a matter of integrity for someone like Mr. Tambuwal to take the legal, the moral road. I think he has done enough. Over 3 years as the fourth position in the country. I think he has also, as well as landmark, I think he has done enough for the country. He has served his country. I don't think he's. I don't even think he can even combine the role of the speakership and the fighting to be the combine both together. So what I feel you should do is this: let's ensure that the currently upskilled quality is not further hidden. Everybody rests. This chaos and Buhaha is uncalled for. So let's even need to resign. I think he has gone to court. The best thing is, if he wants to take the moral route, I think court is there to work now. Not the case in court. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, I still, again, I really always find it difficult to gather what you're trying to say. But I'll just move forward, coming to you, Caro. But just before I come to you, Caro, Aya has been also been putting his thoughts in the chat box, you inclusive. You're saying that it is clear that the Constitution needs to be amended to avoid ambiguity. What constitutes a faction? Things like that. You're saying should be stated clearly in the Constitution, of course, the amended one. And you're asking why should Tambuwal resign his seat? And Aya says, that said, the police have no business interpreting laws. The IGP is not a justice of the Supreme Court. For every action he performs, he has to show a clear line of association, traceable directly to the president or the enabling law of the police force. And I don't believe any laws empower the police to execute the Constitution without a direct court or legislative order. We don't run a police state, we run a constitutional democracy, flawed as it may be. That's from Aya Shogun Robert. Carol, coming to you now, what's your last take and what's your closing words?
I've read comments by Adekoya and I think Martins also said Tambuwal should resign. I think, I think that it doesn't hold any. That's why should he resign? There's nothing honorable about resigning because, okay, he's defected from one party, and for whatever reason, even though we don't agree with his reasons or whatever it is, but he's to defect from one party to the other. The Constitution doesn't say that if you defect from one party, then you should resign your seat because it's a honorable thing to do. Honorable thing to do if you resign your seat. I don't see how that is honorable if you defect from one party to the other. It says you should vacate your seat if there is no if you move from one party to the other, and if they are saying that there is a division or faction within the PDP, hence their defection, then why is it for them to resign? I don't see that as any basis in that. Anyway, what my last thing I'm going to say is it's clear that we are almost running like we're almost in a republic when the police take laws into their hands and they do the things that they shouldn't do, and they are overzealous on making their bosses happy or trying to please some people. It's wrong what the police has done, and it would be wise for them to revert the security details of Aminu Tambuwal. He's the Speaker of the House of Reps. He's the number 4 citizen of Nigeria. He shouldn't be treated the way he's been treated, even though we don't agree. If they may be on wrong places in terms of whether defection or party or whatever. The Constitution has to be obeyed. The Constitution has to be we have to abide by the Constitution. And if they will continue to flout the Constitution and flout the law, then we'll run in a state of anarchy, and that's all they'll be leading us to. And it'll be best for every party. If you think that the defection wasn't right, if you think that there was no faction within the PDP, it's as easy as the PDP going to the courts to say there is no defection and he needs to lose his seat. And that's what they should have done. That's what they should be doing, not taking away his security details. And I was hearing yesterday, I don't know how true it is, that they took off his picture from the National Assembly website, but have restored it now. But again, that's extremely petty. And come on, this is we're running a government, not some kind of joke. It's the country's turned into a joke, and it's not even a funny joke at all. I just hope common sense takes precedence in all this, and they return the country into a state of some sense rather than continuing with this nonsense that's going on.
All right, Caro, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Aya Shogunro, you've been contributing via the chat box also, and Abraham, thank you as well. We do appreciate all those comments, and we appreciate your love for your country and your love to see the right things, and the right things being done. Actually, we end this program at this point. But of course, we'll continue again next week when we come up with another topic to discuss. Thank you once again. I'm Peter Matthias, and this is the channel's team Google Plus on Hangout.
Thank you.